it's been around forever and it's not going to go anywhere, is weak passwords and password reuse. I know you've heard it and you've seen it. I'm going to give you some context. What I find happens is that there's obviously been a big push to two-factor, and this gets discounted, right? Well, we got two-factor. Yes, you do. I should tell you, I've been on networks that are supposedly full two-factor, and I've been doing that for a long time as I work with early adopters, and nobody is full two-factor. There's always accounts that aren't two-factor. So these passwords, weak passwords, still are relevant. And I should tell you, I probably get into 5 to 10% of accounts with weak passwords on pen tests and red teams based on, the organization's password hygiene. People have some, better than others, but it's usually 5 to 10%, and it's a significant amount. What you'll find is that a lot of the passwords that are, weak, and aren't two-factor tend to be service accounts. A lot of those are set up to be in programs programmatically interact with LDAP and things of that nature. So you don't have somebody putting in a smart card. There's obviously solutions for that, but this is where I see a lot of password usage. And when you have password usage, it's the human behind the keyboard creating it. So you have that human element, which is always going to be risk, right? When I was an admin, I was doing it too back many moons ago, right? You have keyboard walks. It just becomes easy ways to meet the complexity requirements that technically are still guessable, right? So these keyboard walks, while, got the special characters, got the right length, I can tell you that's the first keyboard walk I will test on a network. And I had a hospital in November last year, got me domain admin. Boom, out the gates, that password right there. It always happens. And like I said, what I'll do is I will do what's called AD slow brute forcing, where I'll pull the users and I'll try one password attempt per hour across every user. And I do that because I'll augment that and change that speed based on the organization's password policy. So it won't always be that. That's the common speed based on default password policy. But I will build a high confidence list of 50 passwords, targeting season and year, company, organization name and year. I'll look at if I can figure it out, what their default password is for account setup. Think your welcome 123, your change me variants, think of, those kind of things. And maybe even the local sports team for the geographical region, things like that. These are building that high confidence, 50 or so passwords, and you get into a significant number of accounts using those techniques. And again, this is one of the things that I just haven't been on a network where I haven't seen this be the case. So if you're wondering if it's in your environment, I would say there's a really good chance of that. So the solution here is to have some way to audit your passwords. If you have in-house security teams, getting a hash list for them to try to crack, they're going to have fun doing that. It's going to be an engaging thing that actually doesn't take a lot of man hours because you're essentially putting it in a password cracker rig, and you can unearth this. You can also outsource that obviously to a third-party tester. You can look at, making heavy use of Microsoft group managed service accounts, as that's rotating the password for you. And there's also a lot of enterprise solutions out there, which is not the focus for this talk. I'm trying to cover, things that are free for you to do, but there are enterprise solutions out there that sort of do password blacklists and things like that with an Active Directory. Suffice to say, nothing's perfect, and you still want to audit. So, my suggestion is to have that regular password hygiene check done every so often in your organization as part of your ongoing vulnerability management program.